So we're ready to zero our rifle. The distances that we typically like to zero our precision rifles at is 100 yards. 100 yards, it tends to be a more robust zero when it comes to changes in the environment. Our bullet is not as deflected by wind and things like that. If we start to push out a little bit further to 200 yards, your bullet is going to be more significantly impacted. If we have a little bit of wind like we do today, we could potentially not have a zeroed rifle, but think we do, because of that wind deflection is pushing our bullet off slightly. So 100 yards is the favored one. Before we start to shoot, if this is a new rifle and setup, we definitely like to bore sight our rifle. So just by taking the bolt out of our rifle and lining the bore of our rifle up on target, and then turning our turrets to match our reticle on that target as I see it through the bore, will help me to get that first round on paper. If I don't bore sight my rifle, there's a chance that I start shooting and I'm not impacting the paper or the target, and I have no idea where those rounds are going. So just by bore sighting the rifle, it puts me in a much better position to get a hit on target, and then I can further adjust my sights from there to get the gun zeroed. So before we start to zero our rifle, we want to think about what type of optic that we have. It's going to be different depending on your manufacturer. I have the 4.5 to 27 here. With this particular scope, I have to take these exterior caps off and loosen these set screws, and I'm actually using the internal turret to make my adjustments. And then after I'm zeroed, I tighten those set screws back up and put the caps back on, and then I use the exterior turrets to actually make adjustments to shoot out to distance. That's going to look different depending on what kind of optic you have. Just make sure that you read your owner's manual and you understand what you have before you start this process. There might be things on the front end that you have to do before you actually start shooting, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start shooting. I'm going to put my eyes and ears on, and then I'm going to get a good 3-round shot group downrange. Understand that depending on where that shot group is at, we're going to need to turn the turrets in the direction that we want the impact of the bullet to go. So if we hit high left, I need to bring the bullet down, so I need to adjust my turret down, and then I need to adjust my windage turret to the right, because I want the impact of my bullet to go down and to the right. But we'll walk through that together. So I just shot a 3-round group downrange. It looks like the impact of my bullets downrange are high and to the right. So I'm going to need to bring my elevation down. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust down. It looks about 0.4 of a mil. And then with my windage, it looks like I'm a bit right. So I'm going to adjust about the same correction, about 0.4 of a mil to the left with my windage. Now that I have my correction back on my rifle, I'm going to go ahead and shoot another 3-round group to see if that correction helped and I'm more centered up. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look downrange and see what the shot groups look like. Keep in mind, while we're zeroing our rifles, rifle ammo sensitivity is a thing. So certain ammunitions may perform better out of my particular rifle than other ammunitions. So in the beginning, it might be a good idea to source a couple of different manufacturers' ammunition to see how it performs out of this rifle. And when I find one that really works well with it, just buy in bulk, and that's what I'm going to use to actually shoot out to distance with. Also keep in mind, if I'm a newer shooter and I'm still trying to master the fundamentals of marksmanship, there can be variation from position to position if I'm constantly getting into a new position and it's not consistent. That can also lead to variation on target. So also keep in mind the capability of your rifle. Certain rifles are going to be more capable than others. And if this is newer to me, I'm kind of assessing the capability of my equipment and getting an understanding of what my expectations should be based on that. Let's go downrange and take a look at the target. So we have my first group up here high and to the right. You can see I brought that group to the left about 4/10 of a mil with my windage turret, and then I brought it down about 4/10 of a mil with my elevation turret. A little better consistency with my second group, but I would probably bring that group up about 1/10, and then I would continue to shoot groups from there, and I wouldn't touch my sights. So I'd shoot another couple of groups, see if I was still low, look for some consistency, and then I would make another deliberate correction. We don't want to get into the position where we're always manipulating our sights. It can get a little frustrating, especially if it's not tracking properly and we're not sure what's going on. We're kind of chasing our tail. So there's definitely benefit from leaving a slight error with our zero and then shooting a couple more groups to see if it's actually the case that our sights are off, and then we can make a deliberate correction. Or maybe it's something else. Maybe it's the position I'm in is slightly different from shot to shot or from position to position, and that's causing variation, or other things as well. So after I get the gun zeroed, I want to go ahead and shoot a few more groups, see if I have good consistency, but then also consider how we're actually going to use the rifle. If you're a hunter, 1 to 3 shots are probably going to be your max. Maybe I want to consider just keeping the 3-round groups, let the gun cool down, especially if you have those lighter profile barrels, and then go ahead and shoot another 3-round group, take another 5 to 10 minutes between groups, and then keep on doing that so that I can see if these patterns remain the same, and I can actually see if my gun is zeroed. With something like I'm shooting today, that's my PRS rifle, I shoot 10-round groups in a span of about 90 seconds to 120 seconds. So with that rifle, maybe I want to consider 5 or maybe even 10-round groups in order to verify that the gun is zeroed. With 10-round groups, you see more of a pattern show up. I can see if I have a slight deviation with my zero, and I can also correct it too. And then the gun is absolutely zeroed and I'm set up for success at distance. Something like a 1-inch error with our zero at 100 is going to be about 10 inches at 1,000 yards. And we just don't want to compound errors or anything like that. We want to have a for sure zeroed rifle, and that just helps us achieve better success at distance.